Hello, and welcome to another episode of Movies That Make Us. I'm Jake.
I'm Tracy.
And I'm Val.
Tracy was doing the whole 5, 4, 3 from Wayne's World. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
And Valerie is in town. She's not in a hotel room this week.
Not right now. Give me a few
Welcome
days.
back.
Well,
This is the calm before the next storm, right?
Well, stay tuned to our Facebook and Instagram because I will be covering D23. I don't know how close I'm going to be able to get to things this year because they're doing a totally different thing and we're going to see what people think, but they're in 2 different locations.
I heard that. Yeah.
So I'm going to see how close I can get to all the locations, but one of them is like a 7-minute drive away. And so we'll see what fans think about that, getting in caravans and going over there.
It was like across the street. I didn't realize it was that far away.
Yeah. And they are going to have, free transportation, but I don't know how well that's going to work out. So I hope everything goes well and goes fine. With everything that they just announced at San Diego Comic-Con, the 1 year that I don't go. I don't have any hard feelings about it. The fact that I've been going for 3 years and there's been writer strikes and actor strikes and COVID and there's been nobody there. And then I decide not to go this year. And then every Marvel person in the whole world is there. I am not bitter or sad at all about it.
No, not at all.
It shows that there's no bitterness, no sadness. Yep, that's probably the big movie news coming out of San Diego Comic-Con was the big announcement about Robert Downey Jr. returning to the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
What do you guys think? There are people that think it's not a good idea and they're mad that he is Iron Man, and if you're in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and you've already played a character, you can't play another character. And I'm like, well, that's lies. But
but this is the first major actor doing that, like with a major role.
He can do whatever he wants in my mind.
Absolutely.
Be all the characters. I don't know.
I asked my 8-year-old what he thought about it because, he's 8 and why not? And I said, yeah, people think it's weird that Robert Downey Jr. is going to come back, but he's not playing Iron Man. And he's like, well, yeah, it makes sense though, because Iron Man died in Endgame, so he can't be him again. So he's going to have to be somebody else. I mean, it's hard to argue with 8-year-old logic.
8-year-old. Listen to the 8-year-old people.
Yeah. I suspect just because not only was he an actor who was previously in the MCU, but because it was such a major role that we may see some kind of multiverse variant shenanigans going on.
I've never heard of the multiverse. What is that?
Well, it's madness.
I'm with Deadpool, and I'm thinking stop with the multiverse. Just kidding. I like the multiverse. But we do have the Russo brothers back. The Russo brothers did Infinity and Endgame and... So go ahead.
Civil War.
Winter Soldier.
Jr., that was the only caveat that he had to coming back was it had to be the Russo brothers.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I'm really excited. Harrison Ford is going to be Red Hulk.
Yes.
The behind the scenes clips of Harrison Ford doing interviews with people and just being Harrison Ford. I love it.
He's like, everybody asked him the same question.
They do, and they ask him dumb questions, and he's so nice about it, but he's so dismissive. But
he doesn't have a poker face about it.
No.
Well, somebody asked him what he thought about the Wolverine popcorn bucket. And he was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. And then they showed him a picture and he's like, it looks weird. Like, well, it's supposed to be suggestive. He's like, I don't get it. That was it. That was the interview. He walked away.
Why are you asking him? You have one question to ask and that's what you're asking him?
Yeah.
Somebody asked him who would win in a fight, the President Ross in the upcoming Captain America movie or the president that he played in Air Force One. And he looked at the person and said, "You get one question to ask me, and you ask me a stupid question." And then he was like, "I'm not going to answer that."
Yeah.
Like,
I kind of feel like the president, I mean, not that we have to debate this, but the president in Air Force One was just a guy. President Ross is going to be Red Hulk. I mean, that should end the debate pretty quick. But
one would think. But and then you get the cast of with Florence Pugh and Sebastian Stan and David Harbour. Anthony Mackie was there. My gosh, that was a heck of a lineup.
I love Anthony Mackie.
They talked a little bit about Thunderbolts asterisk, and I just got to say this, and I like Marvel movies for the most part. I'm pretty positive. I didn't think it could be possible for me to be less interested in Thunderbolts, and then what they gave us at San Diego Comic-Con just did nothing for me at all. And I'm sorry. I know a lot of people are excited.
Cast. Yeah.
I'm indifferent about it. I don't have any feelings either way. I'm like, okay, well, I hope it's good. I like the cast, but I don't have like any super big feelings about it.
But I will also say, when they announced Guardians of the Galaxy, I felt the same way.
Yeah. And I still feel the same way.
I know.
I'm just a little curious because like it's weird that they announced that Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom is going to appear in the Fantastic Four like mid or end credits, which makes sense, but that seems like a weird play. Like, and that starts shooting now. It's shooting now.
Yeah.
And then you're saying that the Fantastic Four are going to be in both Avengers movies, and so it's just like, I don't know. I hope it's not rushed because they don't even have scripts for the Doom and for Secret Wars yet. So I'm sure they have
something.
I'm sure they do, but I'm just like, I'm just a little cautious on this one.
They've got to have something. They may not have the full script. I agree with Val. They've got to have something because I don't think you go after
have to pitch it.
I don't think you go after Robert Downey Jr. to come and play this character and have him say, well, only if you bring the Russo brothers back. So then you go and you get unless you've got something to go off of. I don't think they get involved unless there's some kind of plan.
I just hope it's a good one, just because that's such an iconic character and it's such a great role. And to me, looking at it from somebody who may not like, this is what I said about Deadpool. It's a lot of fun, but you'll enjoy it more if you know the inside baseball. If you know the Fox movies, if you know the history, if you know Channing Tatum's story, it was a lot.
I don't think you have to know Channing Tatum's story all the way.
No, but that makes it a lot funner and a lot funnier.
Yeah, I think just his character altogether, even if you don't know that he's been trying to be that for 10 years, just seeing Channing Tatum try to have an accent is just on its own.
I love it.
Could be clips, and I would laugh at it.
But I think that some people might be like, instead of like, oh my gosh, that's cool.
Yeah, there were moments, without giving too many things away, there were a couple moments in the movie where I almost jumped out of my seat. There was one moment that I was like, oh, and I like was halfway up. And I won't say what it was because I don't want to get. I know some people still haven't seen it.
Yeah. And I'm a little bit bummed because I did see it with critics. So there was like 20 of us. And I kind of feel like
sucks, right?
You've talked before about Avengers Endgame and how seeing that with the critics was so different than seeing it in a packed theater when he catches.
But with Endgame, we had a little more people in there, and there were people that were vocal. It was seeing Force Awakens. I did not like Force Awakens. I did not like Force Awakens when I saw it because there was only like 6 or 7 of us in there and we were all spread apart. I didn't really know a lot of the other critics, like I'd seen them before, but I didn't know them like I do now. Then when I watched it in a group of 250 people that I knew and that I knew were fans, and I absolutely loved it. So yeah, there is something to say, but there were great. I went with Dave to see it, and there was maybe half the theater was during the day. But just watching it with Dave and watching him laugh like a little schoolgirl for most of it, like all the bad language, he's just like, and like nobody else is laughing at certain parts, but he's laughing, and that made it like so good for me. So, but I get it. Like sometimes it depends on who you see a film with, and sometimes you'll like it better if you watch it later in a different experience. So,
for sure.
Yeah. But I definitely,
we both gave it the same grade.
Yeah, there were some things that I thought could have been cut a little bit, shortened up a little bit, cleaned up a little bit.
Was a little rough,
but it was delightful. I loved
some
the
things
use
that
of
could have been
squares.
some things that could have been cut. Wolverine claws cut. Slice. No. All right.
Yeah. Hey Jake, I was just noticing if we put our haircuts together, we might have a full head of hair, because your side and my side, we're opposite sides.
Yeah.
We're opposite haircuts here.
Yeah. Well, we wanted to add some variety. Like, I've shaved this side of my head, Val shaved this side of her head, and then Tracy just went for the whole thing.
Yeah.
Balance. Like balance.
So I don't know if I should say this out loud because I don't want to jinx it, but I'm so excited. I have never been to Star Wars Celebration before.
Oh, yes.
And I'm probably most likely going to get to go in April in Japan.
What?
And if I do, I will be sharing content. I will bring you guys back something cool.
You have to go to the Disney parks.
I don't know that I have to.
No,
Disney Sea. Disney Sea, you've got to go. It's supposed to be the best Disney park out there.
I know. I really want to. I will see what I will have time to do. But what's really cool, more cool than that for me, is that it is flower season out there during that time.
Oh, nice.
So I will get to see the blossoms.
Oh,
I've been wanting to do that my whole life. There's a cherry blossom festival during that time, but you don't even have to go to the festival because they're up all over the place.
Yeah.
But yes, if I can talk Dave into going to Disneyland, then we will.
All right. We'll talk to Dave.
Jason and I will talk to Dave.
This.
Yeah.
He'll do whatever I want him to do. If I say
I was going to say, there's no way we're more persuasive than Val. As far as Dave goes.
Vicariously through you going to Disney.
Yes, okay. I will go one day. And then I will do as much as I can in one day.
All the Baymax stuff, because the Japanese.
I'm gonna have to ship stuff home.
That's okay.
That's okay. Tracy says that's fine.
Okay. That's fine. Okay.
Your inconvenience of shipping it home is fine with Tracy. He has no problem with that.
But it's months away, and a lot of things can happen between now and then. Sure. So I don't want to jinx it. So don't tell anybody. But hopefully.
Yeah, it's not like we have a podcast we're recording and sharing with the public.
Oh yeah. Well, don't tell anybody, guys.
Yeah.
Be our little secret.
Speaking of things that are not secret, if you guys want to come see us, come to FestEvil at Valley Fair Mall in West Valley, Utah. We will be there doing a panel on great movie villains on August 31st. We've been invited to participate in that, so come check that out, and we'll be excited to see you if you come.
Does such good conventions.
Yeah.
They've been to a few of them at last.
Yeah, and what's cool about these kind of smaller conventions is it is that small, intimate kind of convention. It's much more community feeling. It's much more. You feel like you're there with a lot of nerds, like you do at FanX too, but there's just so many people. This is much smaller, and so I like it better. But that might just be the introvert in me that doesn't want to be in front of big crowds all the time.
Well, and you could possibly get some dusty hugs from me, because I'll be coming home from Burning Man that day. So.
Oh yeah, that's right.
If you want a hug from Val that's dusty and she smells like fire, this is it.
You smell like fire.
We'll also be at FanX. We got some panel information this week, and I think we're all involved in at least one or two panels. So as that gets more finalized, we'll share those schedules as well. And I feel like, well, that's so far away, but it's really only like a month and a half from now. It's just bizarre.
Oh my gosh, I don't know what day it is.
It's still July, Val. So don't panic.
One day.
July.
This is the last day.
I know. Tomorrow I can't say that.
I turn 45 in 2 weeks.
Yay!
And I'll be in a desert on a bike.
I've heard that's like the traditional way to celebrate your 45th birthday.
Yeah.
The 45th birthday is the desert bike birthday.
Mhm.
So.
I was tempted to cut my hair again, like really short, so I could have a Terminator moment
Ooh,
and
Oh,
have
yeah.
like the blonde hair
Linda
and
Hamilton.
like a little
Yeah.
Hamilton out in the desert moment.
Ah,
I get my
Yeah.
hair done tomorrow. We'll see. I kind of want to leave it long for a little bit longer.
we'll see what happens.
But she's so cool.
She is so cool.
And she'll be at FanX.
Yeah, that's true. Along with the Hobbitses.
Yes, the Hobbits is Jake and I and a few, Colin and I'm
Blake.
having a brain cramp. Blake, thank
Lippman.
you.
Yeah.
Sorry, Blake.
We're going to be in a
Apologies to
picture
Blake.
together with the Hobbits. It's going to be awesome. So,
Speaking of Hobbits, we're talking a movie with a whole bunch of tall people in it today.
we are talking about a movie. I was thinking of some random segue, and that works. So
That might be my favorite segue you've ever done. Speaking of Hobbits, we're talking about a movie with a lot of tall people today.
So we mentioned this movie in our last episode. We talked about Twister being the number 2 movie in 1996, and it was beat out by this movie, That Thing You Do, starring Tom Hanks and a bunch of other people. I mean, okay, Liv Tyler, yeah, but really, there's not a lot of big names. Timothy Zahn, is that his name? The bass player, yeah, not the bass player, the guitarist. But
he's that guy. When you see him, you're like, oh, I like him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny because even though it was the number 1, people remember Twister way more than they remember That Thing You Do.
Yeah.
But because it was a Tom Hanks film, it was the first film he did under his own production company, Playtone Pictures, which is Playtone Records, is in movie. So it's this little play off.
It's like a multiverse within a movie.
Right.
So meta. That Tom Hanks is so meta.
He's not.
He's so hot right
now. But yeah, so when I mentioned it to a few people, they're like, what's that? And I'm like, yeah. Well, and I'm like, but what about Twister? Oh yeah. And especially because the new Twister movie, which I still haven't seen yet. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I remember when this came out, it was hugely popular, at least in my family. I remember my dad got the soundtrack and he played that nonstop for about 3 months. So I knew all of the songs on the soundtrack, whether I wanted to or not. But I just remember it kind of just being one of those movies that had a good appeal across a lot of ages. I mean, little kids probably aren't going to be as interested in it just because it's boring, but really there's not anything. I mean, it's just super family friendly. You can take anybody to go see it. So,
and it's peppy.
Yeah, it is. It is peppy.
Need something peppy, something snappy.
It peaked at number 41 on the Billboard Hot 100, was nominated for an Academy Award and a Golden Globe for Best Original Song.
Yeah,
but it did not
win. That's okay.
It was written by the creator of Fountains of Wayne. That'll take you back.
Wow, I don't know Fountains of Wayne.
I've heard the Fountains of Wayne, but I couldn't tell you any.
That was one of those many 90s alternative bands that had like 1 or 2 hits and then
So I'm sure if I heard it, I'd be like, oh yeah.
Wait, so he was the guy who wrote it was part of Fountains of Wayne, which was a one-hit wonder, and he wrote a song for the Oneaters, which became the Wonders and were one-hit wonders.
I love that when he's like, it looks like the Oneaters. No, it's the Wonders. It's the Oneaters.
Like
we will know them from the song Stacy's Mom.
Stacy's mom
okay,
got it going on.
Yes. I know Stacy's mom. I don't know Fountains of Wayne, I guess.
There you go. Yeah.
I will say Timothy Zahn in this movie, as I was watching it this time around, I don't think he says one serious thing in the whole movie. Everything he says is a sarcastic, like, jibe, a sarcastic, like, retort. It's awesome. I mean, nothing serious. Ever.
He tries at some point to be a little bit
one of
serious.
those actors that I just enjoy. He's just always fun in the roles that he picks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was in Planet of the Apes that we talked about just a little while ago. He was that ape.
Yeah.
He just does. He's one of those, like I said, you see him and you're like, oh, I like that guy, but you don't. He's not like top of mind actor. But then you see him and you're like, oh yeah, I like him.
And he didn't look anything like Bad Ape in this movie. So
No,
I do like Tom Everett Scott. He plays the main guy, and I really do like him. And I thought for a little while he was going to like be the next thing. He played kind of a jerk in Because I Said So, which is a really cute little rom-com movie that I like. I'm not big into rom-coms, but I did like him in that. He is a jerk in that movie. But it is a good movie. I thought really, I mean, he's in Tom Hanks movie. Something good has to come out of this. But he's done a bunch of stuff. Yeah, he's done a bunch of stuff, but it's not
huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stranger in an Amish Town. Might have to watch that one. I Hate Kids. That also sounds great.
The J.D. Vance story. Oh, wait.
Oh, man. Really, Tracy? We're going to go there?
That's why I said just kidding. Anyway, moving on.
And of course, you have a little Colin Hanks steps in there for a minute, which is his non-rapper son.
We kept saying Timothy's on. It's Steve's on.
He has one son. Tom Hanks has one son that's trying to be a rapper, and it's not working out for him.
I've heard that. I haven't heard his music, but I've heard it's not been.
I don't know that anybody has, but they all hear all of the inappropriate and mean things that he posts all over social media about his dad. And I'm like, even if your dad isn't a good dad for you, for you to go on social media and tell the whole world who thinks that Tom Hanks is a universal treasure,
dad.
It's going to be rough. It's going to be rough for you. So
I didn't know that they had a difficult relationship.
I don't know if they do. I just know he keeps getting kind of in trouble on social media for saying certain things, and I don't know. And recently he said that it was very hard to be Tom Hanks' son, which I agree with. That's got to be super hard. And it's hard when you're somebody like Tom Hanks. I'm sure there's a lot of things that he regrets. When you're that big of a star as your kids are growing up, how do you find that even internet ground, of being a dad and being Tom Hanks? I'm sure there are a lot of things that he missed on.
When you're doing a movie, you're away from the family for months at a time.
Yeah.
And he worked a lot. So, yeah.
Yeah. He seems like he's like kind of the black sheep of the family. So we'll see. But anytime I've seen him in the news, it's not for any upbeat things. So hopefully he figures it out. And but I really, Liv Tyler is also really fun
I
in
really
this.
like her.
Yeah.
Like, she's an underrated actress. Like that scene where he breaks up with her.
Yeah.
Like just the work that she does with the facial expressions and the eyes and I'm like, that's like, you can see that pain and you connect with her. And when she came out and was just the hot girl in the Aerosmith videos, I think that really, a lot of people just like dismissed her.
Yeah.
But like, if you go and look at her work in The Leftovers, the HBO series, done by Damon Lindelof, she's phenomenal in that.
Well, and then you have Rita Wilson, who is Tom Hanks's wife, always usually makes an appearance in his movie. She's an actress in her own right. She's also a musician. She's a singer. She has albums. She's in it. And then I really forgot that Tina is Charlize Theron, because when I originally watched this movie a bunch of times, I didn't know who she was, right?
Right.
And I watched it and I'm like, oh my gosh, she fell in love with the dentist.
Yeah, when I was rewatching it this week, I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot she was in this. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of, if you're paying attention, a lot of actors that weren't necessarily, big actors back then.
Right.
Are in it, and you're like, oh yeah, that was fun.
Did we correct ourselves on Steve's on instead of Timothy's on? I said Timothy earlier.
Yeah,
Timothy's on's the author.
Yeah,
it's Steve's on.
There's Star Wars author fans out there that are gonna be like, dude, it's not Timothy's on. What's wrong with you?
And then all the Steve Zahn fans are freaking out on it. Oh, that's a
Yeah,
bad one.
I'm more worried about the Star
I al-
Wars fans
yeah.
because I consistently do
Yeah.
things to make them angry. So I don't want that was on accident this time. So
I get the feeling that Steve Zahn fans are pretty chill. Like, I
Yeah.
think they'll let that slide. Like, they'll be like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. But
Yeah.
yeah,
There's
Star Wars fans
also
get it.
Ethan Embry is in it, and he's in one of my favorite movies that he's also in with Liv Tyler, and that's Empire Records. If you haven't seen
Which
that, he's
character is
also
he?
in Sweet Home Alabama and Can't Hardly Wait. He was a big kind of actor in the late 1990s, early 2000s. When I was in high school, he was in almost every movie
Oh,
that
yeah,
I
now that I
loved.
see his face. Okay, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's really funny, because he's the bass player, right? I think he's even credited
Yes.
as just the bass player.
Yeah.
And,
Yes.
and it's funny because he is one of those that I see him pop up in movies. I'm like, oh, that guy, like similar to Steve Zahn, but I
Yeah.
can't ever
Yeah.
remember his name or what he's been in. And it's just ironic that in this movie, he literally is just the bass player. They never call him by name at once in the movie.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
funny.
Well,
Which
he's the
Kevin
one, too.
Pollak is super funny. I love him in anything. He plays the dad. But he's also in Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
I like that movie.
And that show, it's a series.
Oh, I was thinking, never mind.
Yeah. But he's been in a bunch of things.
Sorry.
Wait, we talk about movies for a living, folks, and we can't remember actors and series. I don't know.
He's also
Well,
in
in that case, he's
Willow.
wearing
He's
a-
been in a lot of things that you like. A Few Good Men, A Whole 10 Yards, The Usual Suspect, End of
Noir?
Days. No. This,
We might have to get Babe's opinion on that one.
I'm going to move along.
Okay.
Hold on now.
Moving on.
His name's
Tracy, don't
Kevin
make it weird.
Pollak. He's a
That's
really
the
good
one
actor.
rule.
I really like him.
Yeah.
The show is built on us being weird. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I just love every time he drives up and he's like trying to says he's going to turn off the lights and he doesn't turn off the lights. I'm just like spending money here.
Yeah. Yeah. Are we open all night now? Are we open 24 hours a day? Things that I've heard myself as a dad say to my children. Not necessarily are we open 24 hours now, but
And
it's
all the
amazing.
things that you told yourself you would never say as a dad,
Oh, yeah.
now you do them.
Yeah. I'm sure there was one point watching this movie as a teenager where I thought, that guy is such a dad. I'm never going to be like that as a dad. And now my kids get to watch it and have that same feeling. It'll be fun.
One of the things I really liked about this movie that you don't see in other movies or stories about musicians that are rising and like some manager comes to them and says, I want to sign you. Like they end up being kind of seedy. But I love like they go into this guy's RV and he signs them up and they're like, let's go. But then when they're becoming big, he hands them off to somebody that can do better for them.
Yeah.
And I love that so much. I mean, I know it probably doesn't happen very often, but this is not a real movie. It's not based on a true story. It might be based on things, but not one specific story. Yeah. And then Tom Hanks happens to be the manager that they get passed off to. And he's the one that kind of creates and really embellishes on everybody's personality that he's seeing. And I love how he just gives the main guy, what's the name again? I don't know.
Sunglasses.
Guy. His name is Guy.
Guy. His name's
Patterson.
Guy.
Yeah.
The
main guy, actually, literally.
The main guy is Guy Patterson, and he gives him sunglasses, and he's like, "This is your thing. This is who you are." And I just think that's so fun. Like it's just a simple thing.
Well,
and you know that they went through like hundreds of sunglasses to find the exact pair for him.
Yeah.
They're weighing them.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting playing on those personalities because he does really like he looks to Guy as the leader of the band, even though the lead singer is the songwriter. The lead singer and Guy's the new person in the band. He's the Neil Peart in the band.
Yeah.
And but
he
becomes the leader in Tom Hanks' mind. I mean, when they don't show up to the TV studio, he's like,
your band's falling
bass
apart.
player's missing, your band's falling apart, get down here. And he's like, it's all on him.
I love the fact that Tom Hanks, because very few people could do this, but Tom Hanks got permission to go film in Disneyland with like the old characters and such. But you know that they're just like, hey, Disneyland, can we come over for a day? And
I mean,
you just like close off?
He is Walt Disney, so
this is true.
He can do what he wants.
Right? Yeah, that's true. But I'm just like, seeing that old vintage Mickey, I'm like, yeah, those costumes, they have not aged well.
No.
I was watching Saving Mr. Banks with Sammy the other day, and she's like, it's really funny that as you're going through all of the different stages of the characters, as you know, they're live characters, right? And their costumes, Mickey is always a weirdo, but like Donald got better and Goofy got better. But even like back in the day, as they're all getting better, Mickey still looks creepy.
Yeah. And I mean, you talked about not aging well. Like, were they not creepy for kids back then? I mean, I guess not.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Maybe because it was new.
Yeah,
I don't. You look at some of those opening day costumes, and it's like, oh, that's kind of horrifying.
Yeah.
And now they're just horrifying in different ways. Like the blinking Mickey costumes; those are a little bit weird.
It's a little odd, but yeah. But
sorry, everybody, if you thought that was really Mickey, we apologize. It totally is. It totally is. I just love all the side characters. All the side characters in this movie are great. I want to say, like, Jimmy, he thinks he's the leader. He thinks he's some like Morrison, type of, John Lennon. Like, he thinks he's better than John Lennon. Like, he's like, I'm a writer. I'm an artist. All this stuff. And I'm like, you just got here, man. Like, he's just, But then when he meets like a female star, he does what every other guy does. Oh, I want to be right there with her, and I want to know this, and she's so pretty, and I want to get right up on. So you're not anything special. You're like everybody else.
Well, that's what Liv Tyler's character realizes, that he's not anything special, and she wasted all those kisses on him. Thousands.
It sucks when you find out that you waste kisses. Yeah.
It's true.
And then all of Lenny's girls, and then the one that he marries. That's so fun. Like, that whole relationship is
that wedding scene. I love it. He's like,
I'm
just
so
happy.
Well, then so happy.
Then the end credits when he's handing out chips. Then at the end of the end credits, and it talks about how he was divorced and whatever. Like, obviously the marriage didn't last. I mean,
right.
But he's the manager of the hotel casino.
Yeah.
But then it's like,
yeah.
No, just all the details of these characters, and they're all so fun. It's just, for me, it's just a fun movie. I'm so glad that I got you guys to watch it again, and we're talking about it because, it's one of those that it's not like this big crazy movie, and there were no like twisters, there were no sharks,
there
was no explosions. It was just fun writing.
Yeah. Well, there was one shark. I think when they're shooting the beach movie scene, the guy shouts out that there's a shark or something.
I apologize.
With Captain Beach and the Shrimp Shack shooters.
Yes, I loved it when they said that was who they were.
I liked it too when they asked who their influences were, and Steve Zahn's character, Captain Geach, Shrimp Shack shooters,
and Tom Hanks's face.
And they're like shooting the beach movie, and then they're like, "Just keep playing, boys." They have to like the music stuff, but you just got to keep playing because we need to be able to hear the characters. Yeah.
Well, they weren't playing anything.
Right.
No.
They were never actually playing anything. It's so great.
But that very much reminded me of like the Annette Funicello beach movie.
Well, yeah, that's what they were going for, I think.
Yeah.
I just think it's fun. It's like a love letter. It's like Tom Hanks loved this era, and wanted to go play in that time period, and I'm good with that.
Yeah,
It's
and he
fun.
did a great job. I think he brings back the nostalgia for it, even if you didn't live through it, which, I mean, unlike you, Tracy, we didn't live through the 60s for music.
Wow.
Listen,
This
I'm
is
going to
my
say
favorite.
this, and I say it a lot. It does not matter when you grew up, when you were born, certain music and movies. I knew all this music because my parents played it for me. My dad was a jazz musician, so when he's geeking out about all of this jazz music, I love it so much because for me, that's my dad. Every time we're talking about something, he's like, oh, and that's this player, and I played with him, blah, 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 and like he's got all these reel-to-reels that he has recorded.
You're such a fascinating guy.
Yeah, and so that part of that is what I connected to. But again, like I grew up with that kind of music and the Annette movies and all of that because my parents watched it, and that's what we were allowed to watch, you know, at the time. And it wasn't my era; it wasn't where I was from, but you just know it.
But
also, good job, Jake.
I have a coworker, and she's 24. And she does silk work, like the climbing and the spinning and all that with the silks. And her coach is 20, and her coach told her that she was old. And so she showed me this video, and it was I think it was the London Olympic team, like just a whole bunch of London Olympic or English athletes, and they were asking them what year would you be born if you're now considered old? And the very first one goes 1999. I'm like, oh, and like a lot of them are like, yeah, anything in the 1900s, that would be old. And I'm like, whew. And so finally they get to one of the coaches, and he's like, anything pre 1976. And I'm like, oh, I was so close.
So close.
That close. Missed it by that much.
Yeah, when I think of 20 years ago, it was the 80s. It wasn't the early 2000s. So
yeah, unfortunately.
But I was looking this up. So Tom Hanks, he's done just a couple of directed movies. Larry Crown,
which I love.
Vault of Horror and Electric City. So, but he's gone on. I gotta say, he's produced some remarkable films. Like he's done a lot with Spielberg. I'm like he produced The Pacific. They did that new Apple TV with the Masters of Air.
Yeah.
He's got a really good eye for a lot of stuff, which is a lot of fun to see.
Well, I don't know if you know this, Tracy, he's kind of been around the film industry.
Yeah.
I mean, he's kind of been around the block a little bit.
Yeah.
He's going places.
I think he's got a bright future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's friends with Steven. So, you know, he's got that going for him.
So is he friends with Val?
I'm just one step away. I'm one step away. I'm
degrees of Steven Spielberg.
Yeah. No, I'm sure that, I mean, it makes sense really, because he has been in so many movies. I think he knows, and not only that, he's been in so many movies that have done so well, you know, and it kind of hits a point in his career where is it that they're doing well because it's got Tom Hanks in it, or does he just pick really good movies? And I think it's a little bit of both. You know, he picks really good roles, and so he knows what sells. And so it doesn't surprise me that he's got good projects that he's been part of, that he's produced, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, he's picked some that I haven't loved, but it's like very few.
Yeah. And even in a bad movie, he's usually good in it. So there's very few times where you go, that was a bad Tom Hanks performance. I mean, like outside of that Geppetto Pinocchio.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, even all the way back to Bosom Buddies. There's a deep cut for the young wings out there.
I think Apollo 13 was awful. Just kidding.
What?
Don't. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Jake, can you flip that out?
I'm leaving that in. I'm leaving that in.
100%. That's like one of my favorites.
Soundbite that. Just that segment of her saying that Apollo 13 is bad.
If you post that by itself, You're in
would never.
so much trouble.
I would never ever.
I will get death threats. Like
I don't think I could cut that clip just because Val laughed so quickly after saying Apollo 13 wasn't very good that there wasn't time for me to get a clean cut there.
Anything's possible in the cutaway.
Yeah.
let's
I won't do that anyway
Because
I'm not that
you
good.
cut when she's mid-sentence. No, you cut when she's mid-sentence, and then you put in a picture or a clip from the movie while she's saying. That's how you cover that.
Stop it. Cloud Atlas,
Hey,
the movie
Tracy.
Cloud Atlas is horrible. I will say that. Cloud Atlas is horrible. It's got a great cast. I have never been able to make it through all of it because it's so bad. I've tried at least 4 times to watch it. And I don't understand his character at all. I probably didn't get it. It's not for me.
That was the big thing when that movie came out. I didn't care for
his character.
Yeah, that was the big thing when that movie came out. Everybody was dogging on it, and people were like, "Well, you just didn't get it." Like people that were like defending it. Well, then it's a crappy movie if I didn't get it. Like, it shouldn't be so hard to get that I.
When the vast majority of people don't get it, that's not a good sign.
Yeah.
Well, and there are some artsy movies that some people that I like, and they're like, I didn't get it. It didn't resonate with me. And I'm like, okay, there's filmmakers that try new things. And not everybody is gonna get it all the time. But with that one, I have no idea what was, was everybody in it was bad because the writing was bad. The characters were bad. Like for me, him playing Geppetto and Pinocchio, like that movie, I'm neutral. I'm indifferent about it because I thought it was so cool to watch. And there were a lot of really neat things about it, but like I didn't need it in my life. But like the way they made it was really neat. He wasn't awful in it, but again, I just indifferent about it. I think there's only one movie that he's made that I haven't seen, and that's a hologram for the king. I don't know that I've ever seen that movie.
Well, now we know what a future episode's going to be.
Or maybe we should watch it first. I don't know.
Well, yeah, that's probably a good idea.
We have been known to cover weird films. I mean, we did talk Rubber.
But it's so good.
Rubber is great.
We are going to talk about another Tom Hanks movie in next week's episode, which is one of my favorite movies.
This movie.
And it's anytime anybody says a sequel doesn't work, and we're like, nope, let's talk about this movie. You're wrong. And that's Toy Story 2.
Yeah. We are, and Blake, if you're listening, this is directed directly to you. We are going to talk about the actual best Pixar sequel with Toy Story 2.
What does he think is the
Cars 2?
Cars.
That's not guacamole. That's not guacamole.
Or
avocado. Is it avocado?
Yeah. When he eats he actually has gone on record. Wasabi, thank you. He's gone on record as saying that Cars 2 is not just the best Pixar sequel; it is the best Pixar movie in his opinion. So,
I don't think it's the worst. It's just not the best.
It's one of, if not the worst.
Tracy's got no response.
But we're going to talk about the best one. That is Toy Story 2.
Before we give our grade, before we do though, I just want to remind people, we will be posting the link to donate to Movies That Make Us fundraiser for American Cancer Society, so that you guys can go and if you can help us out, that helps provide rides and other services for people that are fighting cancer, because honestly, they've got enough on their plate. So let's make their lives a little bit easier. It's all for a good cause, and it's also to help Tracy and Val go run an insane amount of miles together, and I will be cheering them on from my warm, comfy bed that morning. So,
blah blah blah,
blah blah blah.
13.1 miles around Anaheim, Valerie.
Well, I'm going to be in Anaheim next week, so I'm going to try and get some runs in while I'm there.
I'm going to be there in a month.
I I'm not going to be there anytime soon, unfortunately, but that's okay.
But you're going to Disney World.
I am going to Disney World in January. We've got our tickets booked and everything, so we're excited.
Oh, it's going to be awesome.
But grades for this movie.
We don't like Disneyland or anything.
No, we're not Disney fans.
I don't know. We love Disneyland.
Speaking of which, Roosevelt's, if you'd like to sponsor us, we love your shirts.
Again, look, another couple of bangers here from Roosevelt's. Mm-hmm. These shirts are fantastic.
Up, we got a little Russell here.
Yeah.
We got Kevin. Got Kevin over here.
And I just got all sorts of Mickeys on here. We talked about Mickey today. We did a good job coordinating there. So Roosevelt's, just call us or email us. Don't call us. We will. Nobody calls anymore.
I'll answer the call. I don't answer calls. I let it go to voicemail. But if it's Roosevelt's, I will answer that call.
They've got a drop tomorrow that's Doctor Doom, and it looks amazing. Anyway,
it does look good.
They're going to have a lot of stuff at D23.
They will have a ton of stuff at D23. Their Disney stuff is super popular. But anyway, and they've got one of their sponsors is a big Disney blogger, or not one of their people that they sponsor. Paging Mr. Morrow. He'll probably be there as well at D23. Yeah. Let's grade this movie. We've gone off on enough tangents. I'm so sorry. Tracy, we'll start with you today.
This is just a fun movie. I hadn't seen this one in years, probably since like it came out on video, because this was back in the day when we still had video from the store. But it's a fun script. It's a good cast. It plays the hit song a little bit too much. It just kind of, it's like, okay, yeah, we get it. But it's just fun. It's enjoyable. It's a B+ for me.
What about you, Val?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I get why they play the song over and over, because you do get tired of that one hit summer, song that they play over and over and over on the radio, if you still listen to the radio. And I can attest to that. When I worked in radio, it was rough. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's just a happy movie. There's a lot of really great characters in it. To me, I'm kind of mid B+. Again, there's nothing super wrong with it. Sometimes it's forgettable. You forget that it's there and you're like, oh yeah, it's there. And I always tell people to check it out. It's not an A, but yeah, B+ like kind of thing for me. Mm-hmm. Little wishy-washy on that, but it's in that area.
I'm going to go a little higher. I'm going to go for an A- on this one. I enjoy it. Lots of fun memories watching it with my family when I was younger. And it was like, when you make a movie that's in a certain time period, it can be, if it's well done, it can be timeless, right? It doesn't feel like it's aged poorly or anything like that. And it's just a lot of fun from start to finish. I don't think it's fair that Tom Hanks, who is so good at acting, can also just be so good at directing and producing. And I mean, I guess it's fair. He's just a talented guy all the way around. So yeah, A- for me.
All right.
So there you go. There is that thing you do. We appreciate you guys stopping by, watching, checking this out. If you like what you saw here, make sure that you subscribe and that you follow us, whether it's on podcasts or on YouTube. And then share us with your friends. We'd love to have more in our little movie book club thing that we have going on here. So, but thank you for your support. And until next time, I am Spartacus.
Sing us out, Tracy. That was awesome.
This has been an Age of Geek media production.